Welcome in, everybody. Divots and Pivots. Yes, still no music. You'll get it. I swear, life is happening. I'm moving soon. I have an amazing wife who's upstairs still packing and let me come down to the cave to do a show for you guys.
Nothing worse
Yeah,
than packing and
so
moving.
shout out to
God,
the
it's
amazing wife upstairs. But anyways, this is Divots and Pivots. Thank you for joining us as always Tuesday nights at 8 o'clock. I'm Andrew LeDuc. This is Keith Fleming, and you should get over, as always, brought to you by Acorn Hills. Get over to acornhillsco.com. Use discount code DIVPIV DIVPIV 15 for your discount off your purchase, and also check out and join their Founders Club. That's every quarter you get a new. It's a subscription service. You're going to get new clothing and items picked out from the founder, Nate. He's going to send that over to you every quarter. So get on over there. Check that out, the Founders Club at acornhillsco.com, and give them some love because they are changing the world. And when you check out their site, you'll know what I mean. But anyways, let's get to some things because we got the RBC to debrief. We got the Zurich to talk about, but I want to get to two topics from those stories first. First of all, if you see me looking down a lot tonight, it is because I am watching my beloved Bruins playoffs on my phone right down here. It is they just started about 20 minutes or so ago. They're in the first period. Now they did lose game one in a heartbreaking fashion the other night. I don't know if you're a hockey fan, Keith, or you watch. We'll get to that, but like they were up 2-0 with like 9 minutes left, and they lost 4-3, and it was absolutely brutal to watch. Do you have a hockey team? Do you care about the playoffs? Where are you on hockey?
I'm from the South, man. There's quite a lot of hockey rinks around here, so I'm not gonna lie. I'm not a big.
The Thrashers don't do their thing anymore. So.
Yeah, and I was gonna say that's been since like the late '90s since we had a hockey team anywhere near me. I will say I have been to numerous live hockey games. It's one of the most fun sports to watch in person.
Oh yeah.
By far. And I don't even know what the hell is going on. It's just exciting because it's so fast and so hard hitting. And it's just it is just constant motion. For somebody with severe ADD, I like it, man.
Amen.
That's my jam. So,
Amen.
But I do know that's a heartbreaking loss. I was on the other side of it last night as we were recording the 19th hole. I kept doing these in the background. It's because the Hawks erased a 10-point deficit at Madison Square Garden.
Oh, you were watching the basketball.
It was amazing.
Nice. Yeah, I wouldn't mind you guys taking the Knicks out. That'd be good for my Celtics if you could do that. Although part of me does want to see the Celtics get their revenge on the Knicks for last year. But either way, as long as we get to the finals, it doesn't matter.
It's just great because Knicks fans, they give us way too much respect. We're the Hawks.
Right.
I know they haven't really done anything either, basically this century, but they were chanting F Trey. He's not on our team anymore.
I say Trey's on the Wizards. He's been on the Wizards for so long.
I don't know if you guys have not got the memo, but he's no longer with us, and we're happy about it, just for the record. So,
That's
and then
wild.
on top of that, once McCollum just killed him last night. I mean, he killed him.
Yeah.
About 34-year-old CJ McCollum, I like to add. They were chanting, "F-U CJ," basically. And I saw some Knicks fans today. Can we act like we've been there before? We won 50 games 3 years in a row, and
right.
Basically doing what I'm saying. They're punching down to our class, which we're happy to, live in the moment for
take the fight.
Yeah.
I will say something that I'm getting out of this this Bruins series with the Sabres is, the big storyline is that this is the Sabres have broken their playoff drought streak since they haven't been in the playoffs since 2011. So this is huge. And what I'm realizing is how great the Sabres fans are for playoff hockey, because if you're watching the game and you have the sound on, that place is fucking rocking. And it's nonstop chants, and yeah, it's not chants, it's chants against my guys, but just from a sports fan and an atmosphere fan and playoff fan in general, the Sabres fans bring it, and they're good for the NHL playoffs. And so, win or lose this series, obviously I would love the Bruins to lose. We are the underdogs in the series, but the Sabres fans are bringing it. I really hope the Bruins fans bring it. In game 3 when we come back to Boston, because they got something to match here. I'm impressed with Buffalo.
I love Buffalo, man. I don't want to live there. I don't want to live anywhere up north.
Well, no, nobody wants to live in Buffalo. Why do you think they get so crazy at their sporting events?
That's fair enough.
They got to let that pent up aggression out somehow. But yeah, so the Bruins are on. I will be looking down. So part of my, I'm sorry for being rude in that sense. And now the other point that I wanted to touch on, I'm now completely fucking blank. Oh no, I got it. No, I want the news actually came out. I believe it was earlier today, if not last night, that the PGA Tour is discontinuing the Hawaii swing. I'm perfectly fine with that, honestly. I don't know how you feel. I'll ask how you feel in a second. I'm fine with it because I think, as nice as it is to see some of these like tropical style courses or whatever, like the scoring is outrageous. None of the big names really go out there anymore. It's so like it's nice to see some names like, okay, who's in a, it kind of gives you a sneak peek at who's coming in good form for the season. It can give you a sense of some edge on some of these guys, but it's such a unique style of golf out in Hawaii with the, you know, the way the courses are structured, the wind and the scores are so low that it's, I feel like we're kind of past the part where it brings anything to the season.
I mean, you're right. I mean, I can't really argue with anything about that other than just the fact that nostalgia is a hell of a drug. So I, remember all the great tournaments that have happened then, the Tiger Ernie battle. Like there's just a lot of cool stuff that's happened in Hawaii over the years. And also I'm that guy that like my wife sometimes has to force me to throw stuff away because I get a little sentimental, I'm like,
Sure.
well, I remember I wore that shirt. And she's like, no, that's been 12 years ago now, Keith, you can let it go. So I am going to be a little sad to see it go. The main thing though, honestly, from a golf watching fan perspective that bums me out is that was one of the few events, right? Like you get home after work,
Sure.
You get some dinner, you could do whatever, and then you watch golf for 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah, you still have the meat of the tournament.
There's not that many weeks that you can do that. So that was kind of cool. So I hope they at least consider that, with whatever they replace, is that it would be nice, especially for us East Coast folks, to have some, more nighttime golfing events. But other than that, I totally get it, especially that state has a lot bigger fish to fry right now, and
right,
than the obviously the PGA Tour. So I just hope they get everything back after all those terrible fires and the storms.
Yeah.
It's been nuts out there.
And obviously we saw the big deal was like the courses were not in any condition this past year. Like that was a big talking point. So like like you said, they have other things to focus on. I'm assuming we'll get back there at some point. Is that, please tell me that's a highlight from the last game. Okay, good. Whew. I thought the Sabres just scored. They did not. It's still 0-0. But yeah, no. So the courses were in rough shape. So that was the big point. And we'll get back there. But I think this just means, I'm assuming they're just going to extend the California swing. Like I feel like it's just going to be some West Coast. Maybe we get some more like desert courses.
They can just not play then. They don't have to play then. There's still playoff football and all kinds of other stuff going on.
So I'll tell you what, the TGO would love that because that's right when they start their season. So like the TGO would love that. Yeah, so I mean, I'm not opposed to that either, but I would be curious if they chose to go that route. I would be curious to see what kind of fallout that has to bringing the top of the field back down to earth for some of the bigger signature events that lead off the season and the Masters, because it's just timing wise. I feel like some guys that aren't those big names that don't have that repertoire, like they use that full January and February. Like we're playing in these signature events at Pebble and at Phoenix and at the Masters. A lot of the guys that we're playing for value and from a DFS standpoint, we're picking to do good, are because they're in good form from January to March, and that's huge. So like I'll be curious if they just don't play in January, what kind of effect that has to the ramp up to the rest of the season, because that's kind of the beauty right now. I think that we just had the Masters, we got like a nice 4 or 5 week stretch now leading into the PGA that where like everybody's at kind of going full speed now. Like, will there be an effect if they don't have that chance? What'd you say?
After this week.
Well, yeah, after this, I know the Zurich here is a nice little break, honestly, because the Masters was great, and we'll talk about the RBC. The RBC has quietly become, and maybe not quietly, but it's become not just a player favorite, but I feel like it's one of the more premier, accessible fan favorite tournaments to attend and to like just be the full part of. It's on beautiful Hilton Head, South Carolina, at the perfect time of year down there because it's still not crazy hot. You get that nice crisp temperature, the wind, like it's perfect weather to just be hanging out there. Like, I feel like the fanfare around RBC this week was fantastic for golf, was fantastic for the PGA, and it just feels like they're building something so great there. It's positioned fantastically right after the Masters. So yeah, nice little break this week with the Zurich, but the RBC showed out this week.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of my favorite events. A lot of people complain that it's not a great television course, and there's a lot of truth to that. Have you played it?
I've never, no, God, no.
I've played it twice, and like, it is one of the hardest golf courses I've ever played. And I'm somebody that hits it, like, my game is not bombing it. My game is I hit the ball really straight, really good iron player, and I've got a good short game. And I even think that's one of the hardest course I've ever played, because you can hit the left side of the fairway, and because of the overhanging trees and the way that the course is designed going towards the green and the runoff and everything, have a much harder shot than somebody missed it 30 yards right in the trees on the right side, but they're past everything right, and it's opened up, and they have a clear shot at the green and everything. And they don't do a good job on TV of really showing that. We were actually talking about this last night. I would love to see them for events like this use drones a little bit more for both the filming of actually seeing the shots being hit, but also just doing flyovers and stuff, so you can understand really the difference if you drive the ball left or you drive the ball right here, right? But it's a great venue. I mean, I think they've had a playoff 3 out of the last 5 years. The fact that Scotty Scheffler, the best player in the game, seems to show up every year after the Masters, where he wins or not, pretty big deal. Like, that's a pretty big deal when that happens. So, it's a great event. I love that area. We used to go there a lot when I was growing up, and like I said, very difficult golf course. Very difficult.
Yeah, I got to get down. I've still not been to that area. I would love to. I've heard great things of Hilton Head, the Outer Banks, that whole, like, just that South Carolina coastal area. It sounds fantastic. I got to get there sometime. But no, I've never been there, never played there. But I don't disagree with you about how they could improve the television. Like, I like the idea of a drone flyover, because they tend to give us the
my computer version one of it.
Yeah, the digital flyover, which is great as far as understanding the shape of the hole. But on tournament day, you got structures, and you got the crowd, not the patrons. I think
you get it,
Masters, but like, you got the crowd, and like, it would
what
be
the
good
hell
to
is a
see
patron?
Yeah, it'd be good to see a live flyover of, okay, so like, we see there's a big crowd here. We know if he misses it here, like, that's probably going to be some worn down grass area. It's not going to be the end of the world right there compared to over here where there's nobody. Like,
well, unless you're Bryson.
Well, so then that's exactly where I was going with that, because before we go full deep in, Bryson has just, it was suspicious on the timing with all the live golf news about the rumors about the funding and whether they're just here for this year and then done. And then it comes out that live has locked in for Mexico City again for next year. So like, we'll see what happens with live. This isn't going to become a live conversation, but it will become a Bryson conversation, because Bryson just pulled out his pissy pants all weekend, which I guess he did last year too. He complained a lot about the bunkers last year, talking about guys can break their wrists and this stuff, like, very dramatic. But he's done a lot since then, where you would have thought, like, I just don't think he likes it down there. There's something about it he doesn't like. But I had a problem with his complaint of the area he was complaining about and the conditions of it. He was like 40 yards right of the green, right where the crowd was. All like, so what do you expect? If you're unhappy with the conditions over there, dude, hit a better shot. Like, I'm sorry, but you can't be sitting there complaining that there's got to be a ruling on this. No, the ruling is you play it where it fucking lies. There's no sprinkler head. There's no anything in your way that can be an obstruction to your stance or your club that you got to hit the shot. And then he went up there and hit a decent shot anyway. So it's just not a good look. He just rides the roller coaster where everybody loves him, and then he gives everybody the reason to hate him again, and then everybody loves him. I don't get it with him.
The first golf course I ever worked at, I remember making the mistake of, superintendent asked me, I'd gone out and played around earlier that day. What kind of conditions the course in? I always ask, if you're going to ask me, I'm like, do you want brutal honesty, or do you want, me to sugarcoat? I'll give you either. Just tell me what you need today.
Right.
And he said he wanted honesty, and I was like, it's in really good shape. I was like, the bunkers are real bad. Like, they're real bad.
Yeah, sometimes bunkers
you might want to do that, about it. And he goes, well, maybe you want to think about not hitting it in the fucking bunker. It is a hazard. And that's what I would probably say to Bryson is like, if you were 5 yards off the fairway, okay.
That's a different story.
10 yards off the fairway. Okay.
Right.
You're over by the freaking where you get a gelada at. Like, it's okay if there's some dead spots on the golf course day, 3 or 4 of the tournament?
And that's the thing. He's complaining about it. And then as he's still complaining about it, he starts walking to his shot, and the camera's following him now because they know this is going to be a story. So they're following him, and literally he takes like 5 steps, and the rest of his journey to the green is like pristine approach grass and pristine green. Like, there was nothing wrong. It looked perfectly manicured. Fantastic job by the crew down there. And so it was just a bad look all around. He's complaining about one tiny little spot. Like, you got unlucky. That's golf. I don't know what to tell you.
I think there's a part of him that's nervous because, I know everybody's like, well, there's an avenue back for him.
Mm-hmm.
I still have not had anybody tell me that. I swear this year I heard that for this year that deal was offered, and then after this year,
right? It was a one-time deal.
That's what I was told. So,
but the PGA did come out yesterday and say that they are exploring multiple additional pathways back.
Well, then there you go.
So
well, then
they didn't say details yet.
Yeah, but that means we're going to get Bryson back on the tour, and it would be crazy if they didn't. I mean, it really would. It would be insane.
They were always going to make it easier for guys like Rahm and Bryson and Reed to get back to the tour than they were going to make it for guys like Casey Koepka and all the other, guys who, smartly took the money while they could, but aren't household names. So no, the PGA, they didn't outline it in any type of detail, but they did say that pathways would be created, which is exactly what we kind of all suspected. I saw somebody, and it was satirical, but I kind of thought it would be fantastically awesome. Somebody on Twitter had put out that, or maybe it was TikTok, I don't know, but somebody had said there should be a draft for all the live players, and like the first 5 picks automatically go, like the PGA Tour gets like the first 5 picks, and then the DP World Tour gets like the next however many, and then the Corn Ferry, and like it just goes down to like all these different tour levels basically until either everybody on live is drafted.
Forget that. We need to go like Survivor or something, man. If we're gonna go that mode, like it's like the top 4 get into the PGA Tour, next 4 Corn Ferry. I mean, you can have like Yellow Jackets level games at that point if you want to, because
special like big break episodes.
There you go. I mean, come on. They need more content. There you go. They'll have their own app in no time.
Right. Yeah. So we'll see what happens with it. But I do think there's something there to you saying that Bryson, I think, was probably feeling a little stressed out this weekend with all the news.
Well, it's got to be.
He's got to feel it.
You don't know if your tour is going to fold tomorrow. You know if it's going to be there at the end. I mean, even if it folded tomorrow, outside of the majors, what's he going to do for the next year?
Right, and he's back, and even as recently as a few weeks ago, he's like adamantly backed live. Like, he's become just this massive supporter, and like, if I'm in, I'm all in with you guys. And now the rug possibly gets pulled out from. I'm assuming there's a lot of stress with that news. So let's remember that Bryson's human. It probably didn't line up well that he seems to just hate this course from years past as well. So I think it was probably the perfect storm for him to bitch about it and take it out on the poor crew there. But that's Bryson for you. Bryson's you're either gonna love him or hate him, and we know that, and it's just is what it is. But let's get into the RBC, because the RBC, like I said, it was a fantastic weekend of golf, capped off by a fantastic playoff between Scotty Scheffler and Matt Fitzpatrick, which Fitzpatrick ended up winning. I'll ask you, do you want to start with the tournament as a whole, or do you want to get right into the playoff and talk about like how aggressive Matty was compared to Scotty on that 18th playoff hole? Like, where do you want to start with this tournament? Because I feel like there's a few different storylines we can attack here.
I mean, the most interesting one is definitely the whole Fitzpatrick, Scheffler, kind of what's going on with both of their careers.
Mm-hmm.
And, it was just, I mean, first of all, Fitzgerald, yes, he did make some questionable decisions coming down the stretch. That is what happens when you have the world number one and unquestioned best golfer in the world hunting you down, like literally during the final round, and he would not go away. Like Scheffler did not have his best stuff, but anytime he needed a putt, he'd make it. Anytime he needed a birdie, he would make it. Like, so in that sense, I don't really give Fitz a lot of grief for that. Like, it happens. I give him way more credit for what he did in the playoff than I do for losing the lead over the last, 4 or 5 holes. The Scheffler thing is, it's just tough, man. People get really sensitive. It seems like I'm somebody that just likes to know why things are the way they are. And then when I give, what I have researched and looked into, and it's like, well, this is logically it because these are where the numbers are the most different. Then people get real. I had the guy today yelling at me on Twitter. So what? Scotty Scheffler can't have a bad week or a bad month in his iron. I said, no, but everybody's asking, like, what's the deal? This is 2 weeks in a row. The best player in the world was right there at the end of a major golf tournament.
Yeah.
And he didn't get it done. And yes, you have to count in the fact that he was down 12 and down 7 heading into the weekend, each of those 2 weeks, and was still in that position.
Right. People forget the journey.
We're not comparing Scheffler anymore to other PGA Tour members. Like, I'm sorry, that conversation is gone.
Agreed.
If he has a bad stretch for a year or two, like what Rory did in 2015, 2016, we got back to just talking to as Rory, another golfer, right? Like, we eventually got to where we stopped expecting more from him. But I expect more from Scheffler. I think he's the best golfer by far since Tiger. And I think he has an outstanding chance to be like that next, top tier, top highest of the high golfers to ever play the game. And so it is something I'm going to be intrigued in. And the answer is his iron. Some people have talked about he's not been good from inside 10 feet this year. Yeah. That is fair. But anybody who's played golf at even a highly skilled level, which I have done that, when you go from hitting 40 to 60% of your shots inside 15 feet, and all of a sudden you're hitting 15 to 25% of your shots inside 15 feet, guess what? You're going to start pressing on them short putts. Trust me, because you don't know if you're going to have another opportunity or when you're going to have another opportunity from that close. And that is what these guys got to do. Like, the best players, they just, that's what Scheffler's superpower is. He just keeps hitting it close. And he's not really making that many more putts from 10 to 20 feet than anybody else on tour. He just hits so many shots that close on a regularity that it adds up over time. That's why he feels like the Terminator. He just keeps coming and coming and coming. And so I don't think it's the putting, especially he made a huge putt at Augusta on Sunday that he had to have to keep the tournament going. He made that. He made 2 huge putts, saving putts again this last week against Fitzpatrick, that without those, he would have not been in the tournament. So I'm not worried about the putting, but the irons, there's no denying. Dude was first in strokes gained approach the last 2 years. He's 64th right now. That is not a slip. That is a drop.
Yeah, something's right. And honestly, if you watch him swing and play, there seems to be something disconnected with his tempo and timing. And when I say disconnected, I mean like a fraction. Like, it's ever so slightly different looking, but in the game of golf, when you're talking 5 foot to 15 foot difference, like, that's all it takes.
My buddy Scott, who is a teaching professional, who does a 2LT with me, he said this. I actually heard him say it before Brandon Champley. Champley said the same thing. Scheffler has always excelled at he'd get that club to parallel and just pass it, right?
Right.
He's not even getting it to parallel right now on most of his irons. He's actually coming up before parallel. And that leads to a lot of lefts, which Scheffler is not a god or a robot. When you're worried about going left, guess where you're going to hit the ball? You're going to hit the ball right a lot. That's what happens. It's you're like, oh, crap. And you block it, right? Everybody knows that move. But it's startling because he was the best long iron player, mid iron player, and short iron player in the game easily the last 3 years. 200-yard approaches. He was 6th last year. He's 135th this year. 175 to 200 yards. He was 11th last year. He's 57th. Even numbers like 150 to 175 is either first or second the last 2 years. He's 24th. 100 to 125. He was first or second the last 2 years. He's 42nd. And even where he's still elite from 50 to 125, he went from first each of the last 2 years to 11th. So like those are all drop-offs. The only reason he is still doing as well as he is because his putting has gotten much better. His strokes gained around the green is at the highest level it's been of his entire career. He leads the tour in strokes gained around the green. And that's what great players do. When, another part of your game slips off, they're just so good. They'll get it somewhere because they're competitors. That's also part of the formula that makes them who they are, is they're like, I'm still going to win this thing. But he's got to figure it out if he wants to. And again, this is only if we're comparing him to the Scotty Scheffler of the last few years and the Tigers and the Jacks of the world. If you don't want to have that conversation anymore, that's fine. I don't want to have that conversation anymore. I said it was too early, but it's like everybody's kept bringing it up, and there's a lot of truth to it. But my whole point was it's hard to hold that kind of level for 4 to 5 years, which Tiger, Jack, all the all-time greats did that. Guys like Phil, Rory, first ballot Hall of Fame, some of the best golfers ever. They never put it together for more than 2-3 years at a time. Like there's just such a fine line when you're talking about these like all-time rankings. And I'm ready now to have this conversation because I think he's that good, but you have to admit he is not playing like the Scheffler we saw the last 48 to 60 months.
I can admit that for sure. I agree with you on everything you said. I can definitely admit he's not playing like the Scheffler we know, but I'm still also, even knowing that and admitting that, it does not make me worried about Scheffler at all either. Because like you said, he's still right there. The fact that people are worried just because he didn't win the tournament, but he's still finishing top 5 or top 10 at like an unbelievable rate right now, especially coming off of some of the Thursdays that he's had so far this year with that storyline. That just shows like there is nothing to worry about Scotty. Like you've alluded to, we've seen this with guys when they start to slip up after an amazing run. We've seen it with Spieth, Henrik Stenson, some of these other guys that like went on these crazy runs and then all of a sudden lost a little bit and then kept losing. Scotty has lost a little bit this year in one part of his game, but he's growing and getting better at other parts to where it's masking. And he's now figuring out how to play a little bit different and attack these courses a little different this year. But he's even in the experimental phase, he's still finishing top 10. So no, Scotty Scheffler if you're one of those people out there that worry about Scotty Scheffler, you don't need to worry about Scotty Scheffler.
Say though, as the caveat, just because again, I think this game is so mental that the longer he is in contention and not getting it done, it does have an effect. Like it just does. These guys, there's a reason that Mike Tyson won every fight he ever had until he got knocked out. There's a reason Tiger Woods was never the same closer, even at golf, after what happened on Thanksgiving 2009 in Yang. Like once you get knocked off that pedestal enough, you start doubting yourself. That's human nature. What makes guys like Scheffler, Tiger, like these Jordan, these unbelievable athletes, who they are, is they just don't believe they're going to lose. Yeah. But eventually, if he keeps having losses, especially because, I mean, those are 2 gut-wrenching losses. When you lose a Masters, right, which he wanted that put Rory, again, firmly kind of above Scheffler for a moment, right? Even though I don't think anybody'd argue Rory's better than Scheffler right now, not any real golf fan. Yeah. And then to lose to Fitzpatrick when you could have came right back after that heartbreaking loss. One, not only done that, but done it coming 7 shots back, playing with the guy on Sunday that had the lead. Like I know it hurt. I think that is, though, again, Scheffler superpower. And I also understand he just had a baby, a second one. Yeah. So exactly. I mean, he got a lot of stuff going on. Don't get me wrong. I just like to point stuff out and talk about it. I'm rooting for Scheffler. He is just, I mean, I'm in awe of his game, honestly, at this point. Yeah. But I do want to see that iron guy back because that has always been the superpower of the all-time greats. Jack, Tiger, and that was why I said Scheffler was like the third coming of these guys, is that they're just so much better than everybody else with an iron in hand. And it gets even better the further you get away from the greens, which right now, Scheffler, again, he's terrible from 200 plus. And that has been something he's been so good at, basically his entire career.
Well, let's not slight Fitzpatrick either, because it's not like
for sure.
He's Fitzpatrick's also having an amazing season so far this year. So, like, as far as former opponents go to match Scotty on this specific weekend, like you said, Rory would have been able to match him too. And right now, as with the way guys are playing, Fitzpatrick's probably the next guy at the top of that list with the way he's playing. He's not only, this is now the second time he's won this tournament. He also finished second. He has another win this season, and he also finished second in a playoff at the Players.
He's almost won 3 of his last 4 starts, with the Masters being the other.
Exactly. So, like, Fitzpatrick is having himself a hell of a season so far. So the fact that that's who Scotty lost.
But you know what? His game, what part of his game has excelled so much this year to a level we've never seen before? His irons, particularly his mid and long irons. It's an iron game, people.
Yeah, because he's always driven the ball straight, accurate, far enough, whatever. He's always putted. But yeah, it's always been his irons. But he's excelled at his irons this year, and it is showing. So Fitzpatrick was definitely a formidable opponent, which is another reason why I'm just not worried about Scotty, so that's fine. And then
we're gonna get sick of him. He's off this week, and then I think he plays the next 5. So.
Right? Yeah. Well, I think a lot of guys are playing. We're gonna see a lot of the same guys coming up here because it is that big stretch here. But just because you mentioned Rory real fast, someone had mentioned. I think it was on part of my take there because they were talking about. Someone made the comment. I forget which one of them made the comment about Rory and Scotty being at the top of the PGA right now, as far as faces go, is like terrible for golf because Scotty's so boring and Rory is so hateable. And they were pointing at how Rory's hateable because he's he's a European. He's coming to the US, winning all these tournaments, and also that people don't like playing with him because he just ignores them while he plays with them on the course. And I heard that argument, and I was like, well, we need to time out here for a second because we praised Tiger for so many years for ignoring his playing partners on the course because he was so locked in. And now we're gonna piss on Rory's parade because he's ignoring his playing partners because he's so locked in order to win the tournaments he's playing. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna sit here and say that. Like, I get that some people can hate on Rory for some of the things he says in his press conference and that stuff, like, fine, that's an argument you can make for sure, but to say that Rory is such a hateable presence on the PGA Tour when he's the guy that we propped up during all the initial live and versus PGA talks and as our guiding, like, our white knight of, like, let's fight the evil, like, to turn so fast and say he's one of the most hateable guys is just asinine to me. I can't, like, I just had to bring that up because
the irony of somebody who works for Dave Portnoy saying those words is not lost on me because that is the most unlikable guy on the planet, or most hateable guy, I should say.
Yeah, it's just wild.
Yeah, it's dumb. I'm not going to listen to what they say, and I just think, even if you're saying that they're boring, because I could understand maybe that argument. Rory is the most popular golfer in the game by a wide margin. They were still chanting Rory with Scotty making a comeback in Augusta, Georgia, people.
Exactly.
So I think that, come on. That's ridiculous.
It's insane.
The game's in a very good spot. They have literally 2 like wonderful human beings who are the 2 stalwarts of this game right now. And this is, remember, a game of integrity and all this other stuff that we constantly preach about and then, don't really act that way, but we say that's why we love this game. And they have like 2 perfect, and it's like almost like a modern day Jack and Arnie to me, where Rory is a little bit more of the Arnie, he's a little bit more of the everyman, and Scotty is more like Jack, where he's out there to just hit a bunch of good golf shots and
do it quietly,
be a little
handle his business. Yeah. And I think no one's. I just had to bring it up because I thought it was just. It struck me, and I thought it was outrageous and whatever. So that was that. But where we can bring back in the European conversation is there was a very noticeable over the broadcast. You could hear it clearly on 18th in play, and then on 18th in the playoff hole as well. The USA chants were loud and triumphant on that 18th hole coming down between Scotty,
I don't know about triumphant. They were loud,
and Fitzpatrick. So I know you put out on Twitter, TikTok, whatever, on all the socials, a video, your morning walk videos where you give your opinions, your updates and whatnot, which I love. Everyone should definitely go check check out Keith's videos on the daily. But I would like for you to set the stage, share your thoughts on the chanting, and we'll go from there.
Again, you got to remember how my brain's wired, and this is where people get misunderstood. I am not knocking, or do I care that they chant USA. I'm saying that it's stupid from a logical perspective because actually for several reasons. First of all, we lose the Ryder Cup all the freaking time. They've won 7 of the last 10 and 13 of the last 20. And we've only won 6 of them. One of those is a tie. So that's not the sport. That's not the event that we should be like, just that's our go-to, right? Sure. And then the second part is the person that we're supposedly rooting for in this situation is an American. So why aren't we chanting their name? Why are we, I mean,
so that's fair.
If I was the guy walking down the fairway, I'd be going, so they don't really care if I win. They just care if I win because I'm not a foreigner. Like I'm the American.
So now
otherwise they would be chanting my name.
That's where I can agree with you there because that's fair. Because I will say the one part that I do agree with is if we're going to chant, which I am fine with, I'm on the side of bring on all the chants you want.
Right.
We need to get more creative with the chants than just saying USA.
That's not really our thing in America.
We just need to get creative. So, but if we want to up the game, we have to get creative with the chants and chanting something creative with Scotty's name. This would have been fantastic. So I agree. Sure. I agree with you there.
The other and the last part is just Fitzpatrick is now a Ryder Cup European stalwart. Him hearing the USA chants is the Bell theory. For God's sakes, he hears USA chants and they just start hitting everything close and making putts. And that's exactly what happened. We really started chanting USA in between the end of our 72nd regulation hole and the first playoff. And you could see when Fitz stuffed that forehand into the wind from like 220 yards, he immediately looked up. He did the one-handed, even like, oh no, this might be bad, messing with the crowd. I didn't even catch that until the third time I watched it. He was effing with them, and then when he made the putt, right?
Yeah, he did this.
We helped the European, in my opinion, put more pressure on Scheffler. So again, just from a logical perspective, I think it's stupid. Because of that, I don't care about like if you want to chant US, it's a free country, chant whatever you want. But I'm saying that the goal of that was to get under Fitzpatrick's skin and lift Scheffler up. I think we actually hurt each of the wrong, ways where we actually picked up Fitz and put probably a little more pressure on Scheffler.
So I don't disagree with that notion at all. I agree that because I don't think the U.S. if we're talking from a Ryder Cup team standpoint, the U.S. golfers are not on the same level as the Europeans when it comes to dealing with that noise and the chant and like letting that pump them up. But what I liked about it and why I wanted to continue is because our guys need to get better at that. This is our off year for the Ryder Cups. Like we need to start building. Our biggest complaint over the past, 2 Ryder Cups have been that the Europeans are just brought it. The fans brought it. The team is like, they're built for it. It's in their blood. Like this. And I hate to draw the comparison to the sports, but like they grow up in their world football with soccer. Like that's what they do. They chant. It's always loud. It's always energetic. It never stops. It's just part of the event, the atmosphere, the life of it all. Like that's what they grew up with. That's what they're used to. That's just what they know. And our guys aren't used to that. And we need to get used to that. We need to kind of enter that world of golf if we want to be able to take these guys down in the future. So like, I'm all for it. I say
it's difficult though. America is a place of tribes, right? To where Europe is a place of communities. Like they grow up in communities where come on, dude. Like how many of your neighbors do you hang out with? Like seriously, like if you're in a big neighborhood.
Oh, that's one of my most excited things about where we're moving to this upcoming move is that we're moving to a neighborhood. Like right now we're on a main road and like we don't have neighbors. Like we're moving to a neighborhood. I am a neighborhood guy. I can't wait to just randomly go for a walk after work and start talking to strangers. And next thing you know, you make friends. Like but the idea that like the Europeans aren't also tribal, like have a tribal mindset. I mean, they get in fights with other teams just because they're from a different neighborhood, like a block away, just because they support the team. Like
that's fair. But I'm just saying it is a lot more communal in Europe
if
than
you're
it is
part of
in,
that,
well, but I'm saying than
yeah,
it is in America just in general. Like
sure,
we're an
within
area
the
that's
circle.
separate. Yeah, like it's a much bigger circle everywhere
That's
over in
fair.
Europe, to where here it's like, I mean, in Atlanta you could go down 3 different streets and be in like 3 totally different worlds, like
Sure.
literally.
See, and I'm from up here in New England and in the Boston area, to where it's, I grew up in the 90s, where even though the Sox hadn't won in however many years it was in all the 90s, and we kept losing to the Yankees every, year in and year out, I still proudly stood there. Because to your point about how we haven't beat the Europeans, yeah, we haven't, but like, I still proudly stood there and said "fuck the Yankees," as if we beat the brains out of them every single time we faced them, which we did not. So like, there's something to it where you're almost willing it to happen. So like, I'm personally fine with that energy level coming to the tournaments and the whole U.S. European
Yeah, I got
Ryder
no
Cup
problem with the
rivalry, like
energy. I'm
bleeding
just
into.
saying, I don't know if in that situation they were doing what they thought they were doing.
So you're right. I agree with you that I don't think they were. I think it had the opposite effect as well. I do agree with that,
Because
but
it woke Fitz
I
up.
think
He
this
looked really shook after 18, and by the time he hit that second shot, and
sure.
we had been listening to the USA chants for 5 minutes, I was like, dude, they just shot him up with
See, but yeah.
adrenaline.
But I think there's no other way to get used to it and to get better at
That's
it
fair.
than just experiencing it. So keep doing your thing, USA fans. Keep forcing them to hear it and get used to it, so that they can turn around and start to use
Maybe we
it to
should
their
start
advantage.
booing the Americans and like just giving them a lot of hostile stuff so they can
No,
get
but see,
used to
that's
it.
the thing. I don't think our U.S. golfers that would be in the Ryder Cup circles, I don't think they're ready to hear the boos. Like, I don't think they're ready to handle that. I think that will also have a negative effect. That's the thing. We need to get them to
I
a
think that's
point
a
where
personality trait, though, is so much of
it
that too.
is.
Like the Europeans have it so much easier because they've won for so long and it's a system, and like they have
Sure.
veterans that then teach the younger guys this is how we do it. Like they just, I mean, like if you look at the Model Maniac posted, like I always say I'm gonna retweet that and I always forget, but I got to find it again. He tweeted, a bunch of information about the European team and why they've been so successful, and they literally read like psychiatrists and physical books and all these things that's why the Europeans are always touching each other. Like they always, if you look, they always have
Right.
their hand on each other, the hand on their shoulder. Like it's about dopamine and stuff. Like literally they're that advanced in it. And we're trying to figure out, well, do we need to match a guy that's good on his wedges with a bomber? Or, and it's like, these guys are playing freaking chess and we're playing checkers.
Well,
that's where we get our brains beat in every year.
We've gotten lost in the analytics like we have with every single sport here in the U.S. And that's unfortunate because, and that's also, I realize the irony in that, as us two guys who sit here every single week and spit analytics at you.
We're not doing it as a team, though, everybody. We're building our own lineups. Okay, there's a difference. It's a team event.
I agree,
but
I'm just saying it's not lost on me that in what I'm saying there. So yeah, I'm here for it. It is what it is. We'll see. I'll be curious to see kind of how if that situation comes up again with another prominent European player from this recent Ryder Cup up against another prominent U.S. player, if the crowd has the same response to them. It's just something I'm going to be watching now over the next year. We're in our Ryder Cup off year, so I'm going to just kind of be paying attention to that, as you say, that tribalism of the USA fans and what that might develop into. Because I think we need something there when it comes to next year. We got plenty of time. We got plenty of time to think about that. But yeah, so if you miss it, man, we're just about out of time here already. But if you missed it, yeah, Matthew Fitzpatrick won in the playoff. I guess that's what we're getting down to here as far as the breakdown of the RBC. And I don't know about you. Well, I think I do have a sense of how you did because we text obviously throughout the week. But I actually had, of course, this week in a non-cut event, had one of my better weeks, which I unfortunately, because it was a non-cut event, I had so much less of an edge because of that. So my profit was minimal because everybody else was still playing. My really only 2 misses this week though was I had one lineup where I played Justin Thomas and one lineup where I played Jake Knapp, and those are the 2 guys that just kind of missed up for me this week. But other than that, every other guy that I put on this show here last week was right up there pretty much all week and weekend in like the top 30, top 20, top 10. So like, I was satisfied the week. I hope you guys put together, an even better kind of pairings than I had. But
Sounds like they did.
It was a good week. It was a good week in my eyes.
We like
I'm hoping
those.
to carry that through for the Zurich, which is a weird one. And we have like 2 minutes here to touch on the Zurich, but the Zurich it's a team event. There's going to be pairings of twos, best ball and alternate shot, alternating days. Everyone plays all 4 days. We're probably going to get a winning score right around like.
I don't know. 33 top 33 teams.
Sorry,
and ties make the cut.
Sorry, you're right. I've always see this is just not this tournament is not my cup of tea.
Which is weird because there's 80 teams in the field, so that's like the only event all year with this high of a percentage of the cut.
Right. Yeah. So it's for DFS purposes, it's different this week to where you're gonna see one matching price for both guys that are paired together. No one else will have that price. And those two guys will be priced. So it doesn't matter which one you play the name you like better, or I guess it doesn't matter if you want to just have a really weird looking lineup, play the guy that nobody else knows on the team. But either way, both guys score the same amount of points, as the team does. So which one out of the two on the team does not matter that you play, but they both score the same, and we get kind of this weird style this week that I've never really done well on this tournament when it comes to betting and DFS.
It's because it's luck, so you're not supposed to do well. I mean, have you seen this field and this format? Like, so I did the work, but there's no model. It's impossible to come up with a model,
right? Because all the course data basically just says easy or very easy for every aspect of the game. Hitting the fairways, putting around the green, everything is super easy basically. So there's really no distinctive measures to look at. So what it comes down to is fuck yeah, the Bruins scored. Let's go. What it comes down to. What it comes down to this week is team chemistry, the chemistry between the two guys and how they communicate and how they choose their shots. And unfortunately, there really is no way to quantify that other than just looking at past results. And like obviously the big names that come up with that is Shane Lowry and Rory are like they've won it. They won it last year. They're the best friends. Oh, what's that song? The best friends song. Whatever. This is best friends.
Saved by the Bell. Best friends forever.
Something like that. Yeah. So like
friends forever.
You really just have to find the guys that are gonna work well together and just hope and pray that they beat out the other guys. But you're gonna get
apparently Lowry's feeling pretty cocky because he's gonna go from somebody that he's got a world of experience and friendship and stuff with to a guy that I don't think him and Koepka have ever had more than a 2-minute conversation.
I was just gonna say that, and honestly, their personalities also seem wildly opposite ends of the spectrum. Like Brooks is a quieter, like when he's playing golf, a quieter, like this is business. I'm gonna be like stone faced, and Lowry is I'm wearing my emotion on my sleeve.
Oh, his celebration!
And honestly, Lowry's like fuck the sleeve. I'm wearing my emotion right on my face, and you're gonna know it.
Yeah.
So that 100% is probably gonna be the most interesting thing I'm gonna be watching this week, and this just that pairing alone, because I'm so curious.
It feels like a buddies cop, 80s TV show. Comedy for sure. I mean, I guess this one could be like a police buddy cop deal too, but I'm very interested to see how they get along together because I mean they're the best two players in the field.
They are,
like both of them, or I think the best two players in the field.
Because other than that, you got like Carl Phillips is teamed up with Michael Thorbjorn.
They have experience, though, right? Like they were last year, finished 6th. So
yeah, but you're gonna see some different names up here, so just be ready for that. Play at your own risk this week. It is what it is. If you want to take the week off and gear up for the run that we have coming up over the next several weeks, sounds like a good plan. It's probably what I'm going to be doing. It's falling right in line with the week that I have to do all my packing for moving. So it's kind of perfect in my eyes. So
you stay in that room that you report all your shows in long enough. Maybe your wife will finish it all for you.
Who knows? We'll see. No, she's done for the night. So I know I'll be helping her tomorrow. But that's going to do it for us here on Divots and Pivots tonight. You get a special treat. You actually, not only do you get to see Keith as normal on his show here at 9, I'm going to be joining him at 9 as well. So jump on over to
Fantasy Six Pack.
There you go. Fantasy Six Pack. It's 2 Off the Tee, right? It's the
yes, sir. That is it.
There we go. 2 Off the Tee on Fantasy Six Pack. Jump over there on YouTube. Check us out. We're going to continue this conversation and
give us 5, and we will spend the whole time talking DFS. and betting cards. So
Yeah.
see, you'll get both.
It should be fun. We love you guys. Thank you for watching every Tuesday here at 8:00 on that Sports Podcast Network, Golfer Gang Network. We love you. And see you next week.